All right, welcome, people. Welcome to the Hardwood and Astroturf talk show. We got some exciting topics tonight. Thank you guys for joining. Thank you guys for watching and tuning in. Really appreciate it. This is our first episode. So, before we get into any talk or discussion, just want to introduce the panel to you guys. So, um, how should we do this? Should I introduce you, or you want to introduce yourself to the world? All right.
Cody also known as Codes. Anything combat related. We could talk MMA, we could talk boxing, we could talk regional MMA, we could talk even the upcoming combat sports like karate combat and bare knuckle boxing. We are here. We know everything. I'm your resident combat sports expert here on the show today.
For sure, for sure. And finally, my name is Hansel, otherwise known as Flint. Um, I'm going to be the so-called host, or I guess moderator for the show for the most part. Um, I have pretty good idea of all sports, so I could tease here and there and chip in when I can. So we can dive right into this show tonight. We don't want to get too far into any um, talk and stringing you guys along. So last night we had a big boat, big boxing match between Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury. The Bronze Bomber versus the Gypsy King. Man, let me start with the intros though. Let me start with the intros. Cody, tell me how you feel about these guys' intros.
I have no words for the Gypsy King's intro. That man started with another man's stomach on my television. That was absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, it was crazy.
And then to see, Deontay Wilder come out in the same start garb later this time, so I'm sure he will not have any excuses to talk about the weight of the suit this time, as he had in the second fight.
Yeah, I actually thought that excuse was a little bit ridiculous on his part. I mean, you would have tested the suit before coming out in it, so you would have known if it was too heavy or not, right? So coming out in a 40-pound suit is ridiculous and crazy, and then using that as an excuse at the end is kind of wild. But it's Wilder, so you know how it is. Yeah. So the first thing we can talk about is fight one, and then we can go all the way up to the trilogy that happened just a few hours ago. Fight one was a draw. Did you agree with that?
I would say, yeah. It wasn't much in it between the two. I think fight was close. Nothing really much to say about it. It was a draw. There's no controversy there. I think the judges got it right on that scorecard. I had the same scorecard as well.
I feel if he wasn't knocked down, Fury that is, if Fury wasn't knocked down, I think it would have gone Fury's way.
Yeah.
But because that knockdown was so like electric, right? And he got up at 9 on the count of 9. That was crazy.
But he got up on the count of 9 twice, but he was outboxed the whole match. So that's, to me, that is what made it a draw.
You thought Deontay outboxed Tyson Fury?
No. Tyson Fury
okay.
outboxed Deontay Wilder the whole fight, but was knocked down twice. So that's what culminates in the draw for me. I agree with the decision with the judges on that one.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people don't really care too much about the fight one, to be honest. But fight two though was just out there. It was done and dusted. Deontay Wilder. I don't think he had a chance in fight two.
Yeah. So what I would have realized is in the latter rounds of fight one, Tyson Fury would have realized that he could, once he pressures Deontay Wilder and gets in Deontay Wilder's face,
Hmm.
He really has no answer for it when he's fighting on the back foot. He really can't move. He doesn't know what to do. He was shocked basically. So he
Yeah.
transitioned that into the second fight and totally outboxed and dominated. Pure boxing magic there by Tyson Fury. I was
Yeah.
actually surprised that he was such a pure boxer. 6'9", 250 plus pounds. You
Yep.
don't typically see that in the heavyweight class. That was something you see from like Canelo Alvarez or so. But well, what a performance that night.
Yeah, I mean, in fight three, he came even heavier. So that's a testament that even if when he's big, he can still box, he can still move, bob
Yeah,
and weave, get in, get out, and that kind of stuff. Um, but in fight two, I felt like he used a lot of his weight against Deontay Wilder, and like you say, by getting close to him, it kind of eliminates that range that Deontay likes to get when he wants to throw that right hand. Like he puts
yeah,
out his foot forward and then buying. So he kind of
totally.
eliminated that entire game. And like in fight three, he had to come back with a different game plan. And it started off
Right.
really well. I must say I was shocked, but I don't know, he started off a bit too hot. And I think that gassed him early, Deontay Wilder.
Uh, Deontay Wilder. Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say this might be a little bit controversial, but I would say that Tyson Fury actually regressed from the second fight. So he wasn't as good as he was in the second fight. I think that he came with a different strategy. No, he came to more be a power puncher and beat Deontay Wilder
Mm-hmm.
at his own game. So trying to do that, I don't think would have been to his benefit, more to his detriment. Deontay Wilder came with an excellent game plan. He said it from the start. He said it the whole week he was going to come a jab to the body. That's literally the first punch that he threw. I shot Tyson Fury in the first round. Tyson Fury then had to
Yeah.
come back in the second and third round. I really have a different game plan that he would have had in the second fight because I'm sure that he would have thought to do the same stick and move, but he went to a different trainer for the
Mm-hmm.
Kronk style. So now he was more of a heavy puncher, trying to beat Deontay at his own game. It kind of
Yeah.
worked in the first couple rounds. Got Deontay knocked down in the I think second or third, and
Yeah.
then Deontay knocked him down twice
In
in
the
one round.
in the fourth, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So that I think that really woke Tyson up because he was really hurt at that point. He was really
Yeah.
hurt. He had spaghetti legs, but then yeah, but then I really realized that he really took it away from say the sixth round on to the 11th, which you finally start Wilder. Totally outboxed, totally outpunched everything. So even just looking at some of the metrics, just give me a second. So even just looking at some of the metrics here, in the seventh round, so he would have landed 16 punches and Deontay Wilder would have landed 8. In the eighth round, he would have landed 12 and Deontay only 5 punches. In the
Mm-hmm.
ninth, he really put it on Deontay then. And he
Yeah.
would have put on 22 punches on Deontay. Well, he only got 11. And then in 10th, 19 to 5. I mean, after that, Deontay was just fighting on heart basically after the fifth round.
Yeah.
But
Definitely gassed.
I was hearing
Yeah.
some. As you guys know, I ain't really big on the boxing, but I was hearing someone saying that Fury is a fighter, but Wilder is a puncher. Anybody
Yeah.
care to explain what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. So in boxing, there are two types, I guess, punchers and actual boxers. People that actually got boxing skill, acumen, everything, IQ. When we talk about IQ, you have like awareness of the ring, your opponent. You could suss out your opponent, know which punches to throw and everything. But when you're a puncher, you got that one punch that once it lands,
Mhm.
like the crowd goes well, the man goes down, and it's just electric in the arena. So Deontay is a puncher, but in this fight, um, in this trilogy, he had 20 months of training as a boxer. So he was like switching up his game plan because in the second fight, Fury took that punching ability away from him by smothering him and that kind of stuff like that. So by, I guess, accumulating a jab in his arsenal, he was able to switch up Fury's mind a bit. And I just want to touch on what Cody was saying before. I don't think that Tyson Fury looked worse because of his game plan. I just think that I just got to give a little credit to Deontay Wilder for coming out trying to box, trying to establish a jab early on and making him think a little bit differently, right? So letting Tyson Fury know that it's not just this one punch that I'm waiting on or these flurries that I will throw at whatever point in time in the match. But I think I'll give Deontay some credit for coming out, trying to establish a jab, get out there in the front. But I hope I answered your question, Ray.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and just to further on to Hans's point there, Deontay Wilder has legendary punching power. I mean, it is not up for debate. In the modern era, there is no one that punches harder than Deontay Wilder. This man literally hit Ortiz on his forehead and sent that man to sleep. That is unheard of in boxing. But I think what Hansel is saying is true. He is not a pure boxer, but we also have to remember Deontay Wilder started boxing at the age of 19 and gained a bronze medal just starting at that age. So his power is legendary. It has carried him this far in the boxing game. But coming against the super elite such as Tyson Fury, boxing just wins. The art and the science of boxing wins there.
Yeah.
And
I mean, go ahead.
Right, I was just asking, do you find that that's usually the case? Because, when
The case,
Yeah.
all right. So for particularly in the heavier weight divisions, such as heavyweight, obviously, punching power normally carries a lot of persons. But those who can have an all-round game and they say actually box like they were in a lighter weight class, those tend to be the ones that dominate for a very long time. So, for instance, Evander Holyfield was like that type of person. He could actually box. This with us trying to battle Muhammad Ali as well. He actually had very good technique and foot movement, etc., and was able to roll and dodge punches and stuff. So those are the persons that would dominate, but the punching power does carry very far in boxing, especially in the heavyweight classes.
Yeah, one good flush hit and is lights out. But a person that had both, undisputed, Mike Tyson, he had both. He could duck and weave, and when he hit, it's night nurse, buddy. Good night. So we want to touch on, like, we just spoke a little bit about the fighting styles and how that affects boxing. Who do you think has the better style if we had to put Fury and Usyk in a match? Because that's what's wanted by fans right now.
Yeah. Just to touch on that, I think Joshua does have a mandatory or something in his contract to fight Usyk for a rematch. Yeah. But no one wants it. We want Fury versus Usyk. That's quite clear. I do believe that Tyson Fury is the best heavyweight in the world, regardless of organization. Because Fury and Tyson would have fought. Sorry, Fury and Wilder would have fought for the WBC championship, whereas Usyk has all the other championships. So to unify the belts, and I think that Fury would get it done. I really don't see. I think Tyson Fury. I think Deontay Wilder was his last real challenge because Deontay Wilder has like that legendary power, but also is more of a technical boxer. And Tyson Fury outboxes anyone in the heavyweight division without question to me.
I mean, Tyson Fury's the only man that has beaten Deontay Wilder, though. So to be fair to Deontay, like you've been outclassed by a better boxer and better fighter overall. But no one else can now come and say, well, yeah, I can come and follow what Fury did and do that to Deontay Wilder. You know what I mean? The guy stood in there for 10 rounds.
Yeah.
And
I think. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, and that's a lot of heart.
He was there for 10 rounds. I was out partying last night, right after the match. Out partying last night.
Really, yeah. I think. I really don't believe anyone who said. Obviously, Usyk has a puncher's chance of beating Tyson Fury, but I really don't think that he gets it done. I don't think it goes the distance as well. I don't think it goes all 12 rounds. Just a point as well. We had it on the Instagram that we predicted that Tyson Fury would have won by knockout. I think we have that recorded. I think that should be
In
some
the
points
fifth
for me
round,
there.
though,
Yeah, but the fifth round, yeah.
that was rather bold. That was rather bold to
Yeah.
It was a
have it.
bold
But I
prediction.
mean, we did have Wilder knocked down in the early rounds. So I mean, if he didn't
Yeah.
get up.
Right.
Yeah, for sure. But
Yeah.
I want to touch on the knockout thing though, because Deontay always argued that he would rather grow on his shield than
Yeah.
to have the towel thrown in, and that's kind of why he fired his last coach
Yeah.
from the second fight, right? So thinking about that and thinking about how he went out in this trilogy fight is actually a TKO. So whenever the ref calls the fight, is TKO. But to get count out and stay down for 10 seconds, that's a KO. In my opinion, I feel like he deserved a 10 count because that's what his argument is, right? Like he wants to go on his shield. I also think that Tyson Fury deserved to have Deontay Wilder, count out as well. Because no, it wouldn't be a technical knockout, but it will actually be a full KO. And that's just my argument. What do you think?
I think the referee did what was in the interest of the fighter's health at that point in time. Because let's not forget, Deontay Wilder was on spaghetti legs for about 3 or 4 rounds, and like I said earlier, he was being out punched for the last 4 rounds. And then I think he was also knocked down previously, so he was like holding on to Tyson Fury's legs, got back up, and then was punched. And then was like he was falling face flat, by the way. So that's something that referees also have to consider, because it's never a good sign when a fighter is going to face plant onto the canvas. So seeing that, I really do think the referee did. I think it was a good stoppage personally. I have absolutely no problems with the referee stoppage there. So yeah.
I have no problems with the ref stoppage as it relates to a fighter's health and safety either. However, as a fan, and I guess seeing a TKO when you know that was a KO, like I'm pretty sure that once he was trying to get back up, the ref helped him up and he was to his feet, and then he could hold him up there. But I feel like if he had tried to get back up, he would have fallen down or something, right? And the 10 count would have gone straight through. That would have been KO, done and dusted.
I guess I don't see it that way. I really don't. It's just all to the safety of the fighter, and I think that if it were a case that the referee did allow him to get a 10 count and he made it, no, that's the issue, because no, when he makes it over that 10 count and then he gets more punishment, no, you're further endangering the fighter to more CTE and more damage, and that could really affect their health and their quality of life. So like, correct. I really have no problem with stoppage.
Correct. Yeah. All right. So who's next for Fury? Yeah, go ahead.
We got a message in the stream from Najad 246.
Okay.
Just saying his only problem with stamina, Mike's only problem with stamina, and he thinks that it was over after 5 rounds. What are your takes on that, guys?
Yeah, Wilder started out really hot. Like he used a lot of energy to establish that jab, and he was throwing a lot of jabs in the first 2 rounds or so, and that gassed him. Like by round 4 or so, you can already see that he was gassed, and he didn't really fully recover after those corner sessions when the rounds were over. So yeah, that's basically my take on that.
I would have to agree. I think after, because in the 4th round when he was trying to get Tyson over there and he knocked him down twice, I think he was basically done after that. He was done. He was just fighting on heart after that. So yeah, I agree.
Yeah. One of the things too that I've heard or realized from hearing boxers talk about their experiences when they get hit and they're in that state, they're actually numb. They don't feel anything, and it's just their consciousness that is driving them through the rest of the fight. So back to your point about the referee having that role of ensuring that the fighter's safety is always priority. I agree with that for sure, because they don't know what's going on. Everything's numb. They get hit. They don't feel it. and as long as their conscience is holding them up, they're good to fight in their head. So refs have a very important job in terms of fighter safety or whatever.
And I think just to add to that as well, because you did reference the second fight in which the coach would have thrown in a towel. Corners also have a very important role in fighter safety as well, because you have to remember that these men are warriors. Basically, they just see themselves and they are willing to die on their shield at all times in an octagon or in the ring. So it's like you have to protect them from themselves as well. So
correct.
Although Deontay may have had a problem with his coach throwing in the towel in the second fight, the coach did what he thought was best for Deontay. And to be honest with you, Deontay probably could have done with someone in his corner doing that there last night as well.
Right.
Especially
I feel like that was a precedence from Deontay's camp. Like, do not throw in the towel. I feel like that was something he probably would have told his new coach or something. But
yeah, I'm sure he did. But how beneficial is it for him? Because like at the end of the day, he was still beaten. How will that affect his quality of life going forward?
That's the issue there. CTE and all that kind of stuff. Big issue. All right, so to wrap up this boxing talk, what's next for Fury? What's next for Wilder? Or who's next?
For Wilder, I think some interesting fights. Actually, this loss creates more interesting fights for him, to be honest with you. Because now he can look at Andrew Ruiz. I think Andrew Ruiz will be a good proposition for him. I think that is not an easy fight, but it's a winnable fight for Wilder. I think Anthony Joshua is also a pretty winnable fight for him as well. Anthony Joshua is not as technically gifted a boxer as Tyson Fury, I would say.
Does he have a questionable chin?
Very questionable chin. Very questionable. And Deontay Wilder obviously has a legendary pole. So
yeah,
one connection and he goes. I think that's one British fighter that he can beat.
Dillian White, he's a big one as well.
Does he have the name for Deontay Wilder as yet though? Because at this point, Deontay Wilder is 35 years of age. He is just looking for money fights now at this point. So I don't think White has a name for him. And then for Fury, there's only one person. We'll say.
Yeah. Just for unification purposes.
Yeah.
And since since Anthony Joshua lost a couple weeks ago, I don't think it made sense for Fury to fight Joshua to prove anything.
No, he has
just go for the belts.
Yeah, go for the belts. Joshua offers nothing. There is no incentive for him to fight Joshua at this point.
Yeah, unless Joshua wins the second fight, which I doubt will happen because Usyk is a brilliant boxer. So I don't think that's going to happen.
It's true. Okay, but that is true.
It's possible, but I don't know.
But what would we learn from the Joshua Ortiz folks? Because Joshua would have been beaten in the first round by Ortiz. Sorry, in the first fight by Ortiz, but then in the second fight he would have made the adjustments to beat Ortiz. And he beat
Andy Ruiz.
Andy Ruiz, sorry, my bad.
Yeah, okay.
yeah, Ruiz. Yeah, so he would have beaten Ruiz handedly in the second round because he made the adjustments.
Right.
So can he make the same adjustments for Usyk? And maybe as a bridge too far, maybe, but it'll be more interesting. I think that'll be it. It won't be as interesting, but it would be an interesting fight.
Okay, that's good. So that wraps up basically our boxing talk. More to come, definitely. There's welterweight fights coming up, so we're definitely going to keep you guys posted on that.
Just remember, on November 6th, we have Canelo Saul Alvarez versus Caleb Plant. That is a marquee event for boxing coming up. Yeah.
So we're gonna transition to NBA. NBA, we got a big I don't know if to call it a scandal or a controversy or what, but Kyrie Irving. Go ahead.
I won't go as far as scandal, but it is an issue. It is a big issue. Yes,
yeah. I mean, Kyrie Irving is adamant that he doesn't want to take the jerk, as Bajans will call it, the vaccine. yeah, the COVID-19 vaccine is a definite issue, I guess, for people who think that getting it will make life a whole lot easier for everyone, and then there are people who think that they don't need to have it, and is it's probably going to come down to a human rights situation, right? Like people should have the ability to decide what they want to take or whatever, and I don't know.
Yeah.
Is that going to affect a lot of people who believe those things? How are they going to integrate with a new society that's taking the vaccine and making vaccines mandatory? So, with that said, what do you think is going to happen to Kyrie? How is Brooklyn Nets going to handle this thing?
I truthfully think that Kyrie will not play this season. I'll, I know they were saying that he'll be able to play away games or play home games and stuff like that, but truthfully I don't think that he's going to play this season. I don't even think it made sense. Like the team on its own would really like to get value if, for Kyrie if they could, but does it even make sense trading Kyrie himself? Because it's like who is going to want Kyrie? Who is going to want Kyrie if he's not um any firm? He's probably not going to be able to play all the games, whatever the case may be. Suppose the city that he moves to changes their legislation so that he has to take the vaccine. Like
Mm-hmm.
all those are things that teams would be considering in a trade right now. And it's like I heard reports saying that Kyrie said that if he's traded from the Nets, that he'd retire from basketball, and I do not doubt that. So right now, this might be the end of Kyrie because it is the whole situation is at a standstill. I know
Mm-hmm.
the NBA won't budge because 95% of the players are vaccinated, and
Mm-hmm.
they won't let one player change their mandate on what they think is best for the safety of their players and for the league to jeopardize a season or a situation or whatever the case may be. So
Right.
at this point, I think Kyrie Kyrie won't play the season.
You
What
know
if?
what?
Go ahead.
Sorry. I'm really glad that you just said this might be Anna Curry.
Yeah.
Curry has been a drama queen since about 2015.
And a
I
flat
am
earther.
tired. I am tired of hearing about Kyrie Irving off the court problems and he got protest this and that.
Mhm.
I am tired of him. I'm very tired of him. So if he has to go, good riddance. That's all I
It's
have to say
true.
about
It's
it.
true. Many people feel that way, especially in NBA circles. And the issue when he was first traded to the Nets, the whole issue that was in the discussion is how is Kyrie is a drama queen. KD could get in that bag too to a certain extent.
Yeah.
That's maybe less hardened, but like how would the personalities mesh? And it just a year where they all were relatively healthy. We know that we only got to see them for about 8 games. Like just a year after that, the issue arises where Kyrie is jeopardizing the team. You know,
Exactly.
and
And he has jeopardized all his teams. So he jeopardized the Cavs, he
exactly.
jeopardized the Celtics as well.
Mhm.
And no, he doing it with Nets. It's a pattern of behavior with this man. Why
Pattern of
even if
behavior.
he were to get traded, even if he were to get traded, why would a team take him up? Like we see the pattern of behavior. It's like
Mhm.
you remember I don't know if you remember Mario Balotelli from Man City that used to play football.
Yeah.
It's a similar sort of situation. You have a guy that continuously gives problems. Why would you want him in your team? It's the
Yeah.
same thing. It's the same thing going on with Kyrie. Good riddance. Honestly, good riddance.
I mean, when you got players of that caliber, right? You're always at a situation where it's like, bro, just follow protocols and so that we can have you. You know what I mean? I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure that that's what the conversation looks like going towards him from people who are in charge of Brooklyn Nets.
That,
Yeah.
that that don't apply to people with flat earther mentality. Flat earther
It's true.
mentality is a serious thing.
Yeah, fair enough, fair enough.
You heard that?
Um,
maybe this
yeah.
maybe he's just
So
a
so right now,
contrarianist.
say again.
Maybe he's just a contrarianist because he just likes to be against everyone. It just seems like he just likes to be against the grain, and this is popular to be against the grain with, and this is what he
Yeah,
wants to do. Then I don't know. Get your players in
yeah.
order,
All right, people.
Right?
So with that, we're gonna take a break. More NBA talk to come. We're gonna bring it back to you guys. We're gonna be talking in Ben Simmons trades. We're gonna be talking all sorts of stuff NBA wise. So stay tuned. If you have questions or comments that you want to put in the chat, please do that. We'll revisit those as well after we come back from the break. But thank you guys for tuning in so far. We appreciate it. So welcome back, everyone. Just had a quick break there. So back to some more NBA talk. We spoke about Kyrie and his vaccination situation, but let's move on to Ben Simmons.
All right, let's get back on
Big
it.
big ups to the man called Roy Vaughan, peoples. Big ups. Technical
True technician.
issues sometimes could be a hassle, but you know, I give him credit for working hard behind the
Yeah,
scenes and getting fellas
thank you,
back
thank you,
up.
thank you,
So
thank you.
before we kind of went off, we were talking about Ben Simmons and his possible trade options and how it all started. So I'll turn it back over to you, Rayvon, to talk about that.
Right. All right. Um. So it was basically this whole situation was basically triggered by Doc Rivers and Joel Embiid. So after Game 7 of the Hawks and 76ers series, Doc Rivers was asked if he thinks that Ben Simmons could be a championship point guard, and for any time everyone heard his response to that, it just went helter skelter from there. Doc Rivers told him that he don't know. How you could tell the people that you don't know? If it's one thing that you gotta be as a coach, you gotta be confident in your players, regardless of however you gotta show. Even if you don't believe that, you gotta show confidence in your players at all times
Or show
because
some type of support or some.
exactly the media
Yeah.
will rip you apart, and whoever that journalist that answers that question, they sure get a raise because he's who started this whole situation. I know the media has got a whole bunch of headlines to put up with Ben Simmons and the Sixers and this. Although I must say things have quieted down a lot now since training camp has started. So right now we just at a stalemate with Ben Simmons and the Sixers. He hasn't been paid, and he don't have any intention of coming to training camp. The season start in the next 9 days, and he don't got any intention to come at all. But well, going back to the original point, Joel Embiid was asked about the performance of the last game and what's not, what he thought was the critical player that turned around the game for the Warriors. And he mentioned a player where Ben Simmons had an opportunity to just get easy dunk under the basket, but he passed off the ball in fear of getting fouled. And we all know that Ben Simmons is shoot free throws worse than shot. I I don't know. I don't understand how to this point you're an NBA player. You play this game for a living, and at least free throws you can learn how to get better at. After being in the
Yeah.
league for 4 years, 4 or 5 years. Like, come on, man. But he passed at the ball, and it essentially changed the outlook for the team. And I mean, it's not the only thing that caused them to lose the game, but it was a contributing factor. Um,
Yeah.
so
And it's always worrying to have a player that is not confident in his own ability either. And like you say, it seems like he doesn't want to put in the work necessary to reach a different level, a player that he possibly could become.
yeah, but that's the thing. Every summer, when you go on social media, you see ESPN posting Ben Simmons in an open run, shooting threes, shooting step back jumpers, one-legged fadeaways, all sorts of things. So the impression is there that he does put in the work to a certain extent, but it never comes to fruition on the basketball court whatsoever, and they cannot explain why. I don't know why it is. I've heard a lot of analysts saying that they think he needs to see a sports psychologist and a whole bunch of other stuff. But I mean, I think at the end of the day, it gotta be something within, and he gotta figure out a way. Whichever team he end up going to next, or if he even well, I feel pretty confident that he will get to a different team. But wherever he goes, they still got that problem looming over their head because the player that he could be is so suppressed by the fact that he can't shoot. And I don't know how many times people have to say it for him to understand that. Like, geez, just learn how to shoot, Ben Simmons. Please, that's all that
Everyone,
is.
everyone, spend 5 minutes pricking up the fact that Ben Simmons is just a bum. You,
Ben
you
Simmons is
spend
not a
five
bum.
minutes.
Ben Simmons
Ben
is not a
Simmons,
bum.
you said the boy can't shoot. He ain't got a free throw. He passing shooting
But
opportunities
this
when wide open situations. That boy is a bum.
Ben Simmons
There's no way.
is not
And you know
a
what?
bum.
You know what? I sorry. Doc Rivers is right. He say he don't know, but he know that he's saying that boy cannot be a championship level point guard. Who he had at the Clippers? He had CP3 at the Clippers. CP3 has not won the championship, but we know the legendary stuff. We call him point guard for a reason, because he's a point guard. That's who Doc Rivers is accustomed to having as his point guard. You would look around the league and then you will see Trae Young. Trae Young is shooting and creating opportunities consistently.
Mhm.
Ben Simmons does not do that. What do you think Joel Embiid is such a frustrated player at the Sixers?
But
Come on,
but
man.
the thing about it is, Ben Simmons, yes, Ben Simmons can shoot, but Ben Simmons is do everything else. Everything else as a basketball player is like I don't even know what's the analogy to explain Ben Simmons as, but the man is just perfect outside that, just shooting, literally it.
Wait,
So what's the game? What is the point of the game of basketball?
What
To
honestly
score
to
as
score?
much as possible.
Yeah, but that's not
Right,
the only
and
thing that
that's
goes into it.
It's not the only thing, but it's the main important part, and he is the point guard. Point guard, sorry, it's not the same. Like he's on the defensive end. Come on, man.
Yeah, understand, but
If he sucks at it, listen.
yeah, let me
If
hear you.
you
Let me hear you.
sucked at your job, if you were incompetent at your job,
Mhm.
you would be fired. That is the same thing that's going on with Ben Simmons right now. He's incompetent as a point guard.
All right,
And maybe if he play power forward or something, maybe,
all right.
maybe.
But
But
he's
come
here
on,
to get
point guard.
fouled,
But
fouled
this is the
though.
thing. But this is the thing.
So
You make a good point there just now. Look at where it's about the position that the positions that the persons, like the coaching staff and things put you in. If you realize that Ben Simmons is not thriving in that position, put him in another position for him to thrive, really and truly. At the same time, Ben Simmons gonna want that too. You know what I'm saying? Ben Simmons gonna buy
Yeah.
into you having then you put him in a position because I don't think that this situation is just a problem with the coaching system. Me bringing at this point is Ben Simmons too. He seemed to got some sort of frigger attitude.
Mental.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like regarding himself and a very stubbornness way about it, and it's becoming very evident through this whole situation. Teammates trying to reach out to you, etc., etc. He don't want nothing to do with the people, etc.
he
And
acting like a brat.
yeah, like a brat, and he not
Like a Kyrie.
yeah
Yeah.
yes
Yeah. Yeah.
like a
Yeah.
Kyrie,
Say like it is.
like a Kyrie, and like he entitled to this, like well, these people ain't entitled to anything. If anything,
I
you
don't
sign a
understand.
contract with them, you know.
Yeah.
But I don't understand where the entitlement comes from. He has not won a championship. He has not carried you to even a conference final or anything like that. He is not the carrier of the team. He is not the face of the team. Why does he think he has the let to be a brat or to even come on, man?
Yeah, and every time you hear the media comparing the situation to the Harden situation and the Anthony Davis situation, it's just like this is totally not
No, it's
close.
not the same.
No, them players
It's not the same.
on a different
Like
level.
it's like you are comparing a mid. He's mid. Let's be real. He's mid. So compare to Harden, who scored triple doubles on a regular basis, and that's what I think. Come on,
Yeah,
man. Carrying teams. He's not a carry of a team.
yeah. You don't want that
He's a
cash
So
in.
is it that
Let me hear
Yeah.
that.
so
saying?
so is it that Ben Simmons can't shoot period or he can't shoot free throws?
He can't shoot well. Period. I think
The
that's
boy
the
does. The boy does not have a 3-point shot. He does not have a mid-range game as well.
neither.
So
I
he
don't
got
understand.
handles and a pass.
He
And
got handles and a
probably
pass. He can get to
knowledge
the
of a pick
basket.
and roll.
Yeah, he can get to the basket, and he's playing the open court. He transition player, elite. Nobody can stop Ben Simmons on transition. He good in transition passing,
Totally agree.
unstoppable.
But he can't
But-
score.
But if you had to rank the top 5 point guards in the league, he's not in it.
Nah,
He
definitely not.
struggles to make top 10. He struggles to make top 10.
Yeah,
So that's like hiring a striker that could pass tops but can't shoot and score.
correct.
Exactly.
Essentially.
That's terrible. That's,
Yeah.
that's terrible. I agree with
You-
Cody on this one. That's
Yeah.
that's really terrible.
So
So we had some looks at NBA rule change, possible rule changes.
Yeah.
You want to talk about that, Raven?
sure. Just for a place of reference, the NBA Twitter had put out a post with the rule changes. I could see if I could try to put the link in the chat so people could follow along.
Yeah.
And it essentially breaks down all the rule changes that they would have made. But more specifically, the one action that players have been abusing for the past couple of seasons in the NBA, where you shoot the ball, you fake the player jumps in the air, and you essentially jump into them. So
Yeah.
so the NBA has tried really hard to get rid of that. I watched a video I think yesterday or the other day about like how many 3-point fouls there were compared to they were last season compared to in the 2000s, and it was like there was like 100 and some, and last season there was like 1,000 and some. It was like that is insane. Like the
And I'm sure Steph Curry definitely contributed about 30% of that. That boy is synonymous.
you want to know who's no you missing out the most blatant person there is out of all. Think about a player that every time the hold the ball the whistles blow. Think about it.
Lost the word. I ain't sure.
James
I only say
Harden.
Steph.
James Harden.
I was actually thinking James Harden, right? But I wasn't sure.
In one season alone,
That's
right?
understandable.
In one season alone, he had 165, 67 fouls on 3-point shots. One season alone. And I tell you, back in the, I think it was like 2000s or so, they only total 190 something of all the players in one season. Imagine that. Um,
So just looking at the chat, someone was asking that Ben can't or he won't shoot.
I think Ben won't shoot, and it just comes back down to a mentality
Mhm.
thing, as we say, like
Confidence.
yeah,
Not
confidence.
confident.
Yeah, as I tell you, we would see Ben Simmons on social media, on Bleacher Report, on ESPN, on NBA, in these open runs, shooting and stepping back and fading away and doing all sorts, doing pick and rolls and a whole bunch of stuff, and it don't amount to nothing.
Nothing. Or a lot
So
of
is that
nothing.
in-game pressure that basically, I guess, he can't really thrive in pressure
It
situations
seems
regularly?
I think that's a great point that you made because it seems that way because the playoffs is the most pressured situation at all, and
Yeah.
on top of that, the fact that he does not want to go back to face the fans. Philadelphia got some of the most tyrants, I would say it is tyrants for fans that I ever see before. Like they can be, I remember they was booing Joel Embiid for I can't remember what was the correct situation, but they was booing their own star player for something or the other. Like them is some tough fans to deal with. And if you mental makeup in there already, with them, I don't see how he would possibly be able to go back there and play every game. Because every time he touch that ball, those people in their stands can just boo boo him every single time. You know,
Yeah.
uh, it it's tough. But trying to find the rule changes. But I guess I haven't been able to find it as quickly as I would like to. But
So
the,
just another point of view
yeah,
changes. Someone also in chat saying that CP3 also synonymous with the 3 point foul that you were discussing earlier.
I would say relatively so. But I don't think on the on the level of James Harden and as you've mentioned, Steph Curry.
Yeah.
I don't even think Steph Curry as much as like I think James Harden just leagues and leagues beyond. And we probably didn't get to see it a lot because he didn't play that much last year. But no, I interested to see how he adjusted that change since he was so dependent on it in terms of his game. And I guess we'll see how the season go because it can probably just be he and KD. It can
Yeah.
probably just be he and KD playing.
But
Another before I get off the rule changes. Trey Young is another one that was doing it. So he was doing this
mhm,
thing where
yeah.
he would dribble in the middle. He would got the player on his back. And he would kind of push back on the player, and they would call that a foul. So they implemented a rule to cut down on that also. So it can be interesting to see how they adjust to those new rules, and I think the NBA players they'll be able to figure out a way. I just think it's good to see that NBA is trying to put the power back in the defensive players' hands a little bit more. You know?
Yeah. So there were some general manager survey results from the NBA. One of them was NBA Finals winners. Who you got for this season?
Uh, Norm, if Kyrie, if I believed that Kyrie was going to be there, I
If the
don't.
prodigal son
Yes,
returns home,
yes,
it will be a party.
it would be a party in Brooklyn, right? Because I
Yeah.
can't. Who is going to stop Kyrie, KD, and James Harden? Three of the most
Well, that's
lethal.
provided there are no um, injuries though,
Yeah,
because
providing
as
yeah,
season goes on.
if yeah, you always gotta put that disclaimer there. If
Yeah.
everyone is healthy, providing no weird injuries or anything like that,
Hmm.
I don't see no I don't see no defense stopping Kyrie, James Harden, and KD in
All three lethal though.
exactly on
That's
offense.
for sure. All three
I mean,
lethal.
the
You
question.
know, you know,
Mm,
you know what? I got a hot take for you.
yeah, let me hear it.
I think the Nets did better without Kyrie. I think it was a more balanced team without Kyrie
I think that's
because you
interesting.
have KD, you got Blake Griffin to play, you still got DeAndre Jordan, but
Yeah, yeah,
and then once you find a proper pass to the ball, I think because Kyrie's
yeah.
going to hold the ball more than any other player there. It's a more balanced team without him. I don't think the Nets will do better without him actually.
I, I think I could see that because you're saying that we need that they need to find a better basketball, but James Harden is elite as a point guard.
Right.
exceptionally elite. I feel like people know James Harden for scoring, but as a playmaker, James Harden on a
Right.
different level.
So if you
Yeah,
got a built-in
yeah,
replacement point guard, basically,
exactly.
it's a better balance.
But the
You
thing
could
about
play
it,
another big man.
yeah,
And then,
the thing about it is
there you go.
James Harden was who was mainly playing point guard for most of the season because Kyrie and about our life.
Yeah.
Kyrie and get you buckets. Kyrie is going to get you buckets. But if all was normal and all was well, the team was intact. Vaccination wasn't a big part of it. I would pick the Brooklyn Nets to win the NBA Finals. Um,
Mhm.
Over the Lakers, I just can't see. I just can't see. I just don't know. I don't know what to think about Westbrook. Everywhere that he went in terms of trying to win and stuff like that, it's been hard for him to mesh with star players. I feel like LeBron might be the one to do the trick because is LeBron. I think that's all you can really say when it comes to LeBron at this point. and and he might find some way to do it, but I just don't got that much faith in Westbrook, to be honest. And I think for them to beat the Nets at full strength, them gonna need everybody that they could possibly have.
You think
You know,
Westbrook struggles or the team
But
when they
because
invite Westbrook
I
players?
think the team struggles because
because of Westbrook.
of Westbrook,
Yeah,
Westbrook
I think it's
decision
always
making.
yeah.
Yeah, and it's not that he's a bad player, like or anything like that. It's
Teams
just
become too reliant on him. Right? Because
yeah,
if a man consistently do triple doubles, like I think he got like close to the record for it. If not, he has the record for it at this point. They become too reliant. This is to give him the ball and they don't play around him. Like everything orbits around him at that
yeah,
point. Whereas for other teams, they actually play as a team, and I think to win a championship, you have to play as a team. And he doesn't cultivate that in any organization that he goes.
yeah. Honestly, we got a hot take in the chat. If Giannis' shooting gets consistent, Bucks in seven. I can
But
see
he's
that.
one man though.
Yeah, but
I
no,
mean,
he still got Chris
He got a
Middleton.
scoring
Yeah,
cast.
yeah,
Yeah.
he got a good supporting cast. Chris Middleton and Drew Holiday on the team. I want to count them out though. That's for sure. And I think a team that we should
You
be
know?
watching too is the Heat, really and truly, because them.
Mm,
I think they get pretty decent. They got Kyle Lowry, um, Jimmy Butler, Bam. That defense can be that defense
the hero.
can be cruel. I ain't gonna lie about that. So and
You know,
the cliche thing to say is defense win championships. So we'll see
yeah.
if that's the case. We'll see
Well, it
if
was.
this.
I think that we missing a team that really can do it here. Donovan Mitchell. I think that he was
Jazz,
injured the last NBA last season in the playoffs.
right?
It was him. Yeah, it
Yeah,
was
yeah, he
Donovan
was.
Mitchell.
He was
Yeah,
injured for a bit. He came in and played, but I don't know. The Jazz, the Jazz is like, is like, I don't know how to put it. This just be right. They're right on the edge,
yeah.
but it can't ever get over the hump.
I
Uh,
think the day get over because Donovan Mitchell was injured
yeah.
last year.
Well,
I think a healthy Jazz.
mhm.
I think gets to the final. I don't know per se they're gonna win, but I think
Nah.
they'll get to the final.
I,
what
That's
about
my hot take.
Mavericks?
okay, fair enough. The
Luka.
Mavs,
Yeah, Luka.
I think the Mavs situation is pretty simple. Can Kristaps Porzingis be the player that we know that he could be? Full stop.
Mhm.
Because when he was in the bubble, he and Luca was
I know.
going berserk. I had it in my head that they were going to beat the Clippers in our first round series, but he wouldn't get hurt. He wouldn't get hurt. I was certain that if KP didn't get hurt, they would have beat the Clippers, and that would have been a bigger upset than them blowing that 3-1 lead to the Nuggets, really and truly. But I think for me it just hinges on KP, and I'm interested to see how Jason Kidd can coach his team because I don't really got much confidence in Jason Kidd as a coach, but we'll see what happens there.
Mhm. MVP. Think Giannis got it in him to get
I
MVP,
feel like the
and
thing with
maybe defensive player of the year.
not again. I feel like how the
Not
NBA,
again.
yeah, how the NBA voting is word is where they once you get the award too much, which I feel like what is doing with LeBron. Once you get the award too much or too consecutively, it's be like, yeah, your number is good, but let me find somebody else to get us here to essentially. I feel like depending on how Luca play, Luca got a strong chance of winning MVP this year. To be honest, um,
Okay.
I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure he can be good, barring any other injury or anything like that. The GM seems to love KD, but I don't
Yeah.
think I I love I ain't sure. I ain't really sure about KD because I think that they might take it. They will put a bigger emphasis on the postseason than anything else, really and truly. You know, like kind of like how Kawhi is doing. I ain't saying that KD can be load managing like Kawhi, but I feel like Luca. I feel like Luca will got the edge, really and truly, over everybody else.
I think it's Katie.
Or he could.
Like, Katie has too many tools and it's too deadly. We've seen it. We have seen how
Sniper.
deadly that man is.
Mm,
There
Sniper.
is no way a healthy Katie does not win MVP.
yeah,
That
but the thing about it is, but the
if
narrative is play a part too. It can be like, oh, Luca carrying this team, especially if KP ain't performing the way that he should. It can be like,
mhm.
Luca was just playing this team when he bought like LeBron. You know what I'm saying? So I
Yeah,
feel
yeah,
like
yeah.
that could be the narrative that would kind of put Luca in a position to win it if KD does have that stellar season that the GM seem to think that he will have.
Mhm.
So,
Any dark horses you figure off the top of your
um,
head or
you mean for the finals or
for
for the
MVP?
just for
MVP. Sorry.
MVP?
Yeah.
Ooh, that's a tough one. Ooh,
Spell
I
that
wanna.
term, Cody,
Yeah,
for
dark
people who
horse is
might not.
just a person that isn't expected, more like a person that comes from the periphery and then dominates the season.
Okay.
I think this is a wild take. I don't think he, as far as a game like he could be, but Jason Tatum, Jason Tatum.
Mm.
If Jason Tatum could find some way to average like 28 points a game, 9 rebounds, 5 assists, Celtics is number 2 in the West. I mean in the East, sorry, or 3 in the
Yeah.
East. I feel like that would just put him up there one time, and he already got that cachet already to be that caliber or have the potential to be that caliber of player. So if it happens this season, like I, I think the voters can love playing the take next to Jason Taylor name. You know?
For me, I can go Trae Young. I think he's valid. Uh, I have not seen point guard skills on that level in a very long time.
Yeah,
For me personally, in watching basketball, and the boy just can shoot.
yeah,
Yeah, obviously he got disadvantages of silly rebounds or steals or so, but I think he gets it done. I really
yeah.
do think he gets it done.
I don't know if I would go as far as to say that Trey Young will make it that way, but I think that if he is in the conversation, that is going to be narrative based because it's a young up and coming team. Yeah, they got good players on the team, but if it can be like a situation with Luca that he put the team where he back and he carried it. You know, I
Yeah, I know what I'm saying.
if Trey Young is a if he does get in that conversation, you know. We got some messages in the chat. Think Timberwolves might finally reach the playoffs. I definitely do. Luca, you, Luca, unanimous MVP. Okay, all right, Naj. Um, I don't know if it will go as far as MVP because, as Cody was saying, I think KD will come strong, but I don't think he will got the edge on Luca. I don't think it might be unanimous, but the narrative gonna play a big role in it this year. So we'll see how it goes. Jason Kidd as a coach, he made Giannis the way he is now. Maybe he improves Luca physically. So you want Luca out there jumping over man and you know throwing it down, man. I don't think it can be that far. And you know the funny thing about it, I watched an interview with him and he spoke about how he don't have any regrets of coaching the Bucks. He feels as though his impact has made that team the way that it was now. So I think he should have a positive impact on the team, but I am not sure how much if it will put him over the top.
So we can break and then we can come back with some EPL talk for you guys. Brief EPL talk, nothing too in depth, too deep. But if it gets that way, be prepared, people, because we like. Thanks for coming out and stay tuned, stay plugged, don't go too far. All right, people, welcome back. We're just going to touch up a little bit on the EPL and give you guys some, I guess, thoughts about what we think about the EPL as it stands right now. So, Cody, I got a couple of questions for you, my brother, as the football star in this conversation right now. Um, Newcastle's takeover. Um, Explain that a little bit and tell us what you think that means for the league.
Okay, so earlier this week, Newcastle was finally bought over by the Saudi Arabia investment company from Mike Ashley. Ashley was trying to sell this company now for about 3 years, and throughout this period, Newcastle has gone through some really ridiculous changes that really sucked the life and the spirit out of the Newcastle fans. So they're
Mm.
very, very, very excited to have this new blood as owners. This company is worth over $300 billion. The final hurdle that they had to face to get the deal done was the Saudi Arabia copyrights, but they finally got that done this week, and everything is looking up for Newcastle right now. So in terms of what that means for the league, there's no a new super team basically in the league. Um, I don't think it really affects, say, like Chelsea, Man City, Man U, or Liverpool that much, but I do think it really does have repercussions, for Arsenal and Tottenham. Um, Arsenal, I don't know if you know, but we refer to six teams in the Premier League as the top six.
Top six,
I
yeah.
think, I think Arsenal's status really is going to be in question. Though. I think it is in question already because of challenges from Leicester and West Ham. But I think Newcastle, with this new money, could really afford literally anyone they wanted. It's just which players would be willing to come to the club that doesn't have Champions League currently. But I don't foresee them being without Champions League for very long.
So what's your big
So
six?
my big six currently would be Chelsea, Man City, Liverpool, United, and controversially, I'll say Leicester. Leicester has been a more consistent team in that bracket now for the last 2, 3, 4 seasons. Arsenal, Arsenal aren't there. They just don't have the players. They don't have the coaches. They just don't have it. They don't have the owners as well. The owners are not spending the type of money that is required to be a big team again in England. But Newcastle don't have those owners. So who are they going to attract? They're going to attract bench players in the medium term. You're going to attract bench players from the biggest teams in Europe, and those bench players are more than capable of getting Newcastle up the table and into the Champions League positions. We're talking like, say, for instance, Coutinho from Barcelona. We're talking Dembele. We're talking like those caliber players who were good, who were the stars 4 or 5 years ago, who aren't necessarily in the hottest properties on the market now.
Yeah.
Talking players like Bale as well. So like
Coutinho had it rough though. I believe. He had it rough at Barca.
He did have it rough. But no, he may be given a new lease of life at Newcastle and then goes on to prosper there. So even players like, I know James Rodriguez has not gone to Qatar, but if he were there like another season, like that is a caliber of player that I was bringing in. who were once the elite of the elite, but not there currently. So yeah, I think it's going to be a big shakeup for the Premier League.
Okay. We're going to one final question, and people will always have their own opinions and stuff about this, but is Mohamed Salah underrated? We've seen him done like some incredible things on the pitch, and in my opinion, I think he is. I don't think he's talked about as much as he deserves to be talked about.
I think it's true that he is underrated, but I don't know how much underrated he is, because a lot of people give him Eden Hazard comparisons. They think that he's better at Eden Hazard. He's more deadly with his left foot, right? But how underrated he's definitely not in the bracket as say Messi or Neymar or Ronaldo. But he's not too far from it. If there was like a B list of category, he would be top of that B list. Yeah. Sorry for anyone in chat who's a Liverpool fan who thinks otherwise, but
Are you a Chelsea fan?
Big Chelsea fan.
I know, because you put Chelsea first.
But you have to do it. Who's currently top of the league? Once again, sorry to every Liverpool fan in the chat, but Chelsea right now is showing a level of football that is title challenging, and dare I say, repeat Champions League type of winners style of football and play of football right now. I don't think Liverpool is going to be able to catch them this season.
We got to get some friction fans against Cody on this so that we can get some good back and forth going. But basically, people, that's it for the stream for today. Thank you guys again. We really appreciate you guys coming out and joining the live. This is our first live. Be prepared to see more lives coming for sure. If you do want to join the discussion at some point in the future, you can let us know by emailing us at hastrobros@gmail.com. You can get the email through the chat. I think Rayvon's going to put that up for you guys right now. Or you can go to our About page on YouTube and just click on the link and send us the email. So once again, thank you guys for coming out. Thank you, Cody, for hanging out with us today. Thanks, Rayvon, for joining the discussion. It was really good fun, and hope you guys stay tuned for some more. So yeah, that's it.
It's a pleasure, guys.
All right, great, guys.
See you.